Welcome to the Tenkara Angler Level Line podcast. I'm your host, Mike Agnetta, and tonight I'm joined by a quiver of Tenkara anglers. We've actually got 5 on the podcast tonight, including myself. So first I'll say welcome to Anthony Naples. How's it going, Anthony?
Hey, greetings, everyone.
Good to see you. I've got Amanda Hoffner.
Ahoy!
Ahoy, Matt Sment.
Merry holidays.
To you too, Matt. And then Bill Robichaux. How are you doing, Bill?
I'm good. I'm here in the chilly driftless area in front of my fireplace.
Yeah, tell us how cold it is there right now, or what it's supposed to be.
The temperature is falling. It's supposed to be -1 with like 20-mile-an-hour winds by morning. I was thinking of trying to go fishing in Iowa, but I think I'm going to cancel that.
Yeah, I probably would too.
Good call. It's even too cold for deer hunting.
So it's great to see you all. So for full transparency, we actually tried to record this podcast last week and we had a bunch of people under the weather and all kinds of stuff. So right now we're recording this basically about, 2 weeks before Christmas. So what we wanted to do was basically we'll give our current event update like we always do. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of talk about some, potential last minute Christmas gifts for the angler in your life. And that could be, somebody that you want to gift, or maybe you want to tell somebody in your family something you might want to find in your stocking. So I'm just going to kind of kick it off and get going. We'll start with current events. Like I said, there's not a lot of things going on in the Tenkara universe at the moment. The winter is always a slow time. People like to tie flies and don't do a whole lot of fishing. But there are some things that I've noticed just kind of, surfing the internet and things like that, talking to people online that I thought were kind of worth mentioning. And the first thing is there's been a series of online fly tying classes or Tenkara kebari tying classes that our friend Dre over at I guess he's got a couple pages on Facebook, but I think this one's sponsored more or less by the Iowa Tenkara fishing group. And Matt, you actually attended one of them. And I believe the first one was on Sakasa kebari. And the second one was on Futsu kebari. And the last one, which by the time this comes out is still probably going to be able to be attended, is going to be on June tackle kebari. Those are all, again, we'll put the link in the comments below on where you can find and sign up for these online classes. But Matt, I know you attended one. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, Dre is an exceptionally gifted communicator, and as far as being able to talk you through flies, he's really, really skilled at that. I don't tie a lot of flies because of focus. I'm going to use as an excuse. Not that I'm clumsy. Not that whip finish incident that the lawyers have advised me not to discuss. But no, Dre is exceptionally knowledgeable, and he teaches a really information-dense class. And although I think there's only one session left, I'm sure that if he got a good response out of the community, that he'd be willing to repeat the 3-session class. They're 2 hours, and he ties, I think we did at least 3, if not 4 patterns last time with a decent amount of talk about theory and like why he's doing what he's doing when he ties. So it's really informative if you enjoy tying. And if you're just generally interested in Tenkara, I can't recommend Dre's sessions enough.
Yeah, Matt was talking, I was looking it up. The next one, or the last one in the 3-part series, is going to be on December 18th. And again, we'll put the link to be able to register, to contact him to register for that. I think they're $20 classes. So you do have to register to sign up for them. But, like Matt said, sounds like they're definitely worth it, especially if you're looking to, fill a few slots in your fly box over the winter months.
Absolutely. And if I didn't say so, if you're a beginning fly tyer, he's really keeping it at a level that you can understand. So it's really relevant to someone just getting into the hobby of tying flies, as well as I think someone who's been tying them a while and wants to dive deeper into their technique.
It's great to see, the community having things like that. It's one thing to watch YouTube videos, but, it's another thing to actually have an interactive session or whatever, where you can watch somebody almost in real time, tie flies and
and
help with
instruction. Question to clarify things, there too, instead of having to leave a message and play any sort of, digital get back to you later type of game.
Totally.
Great use of Tenkara Angler's time here at the holidays.
as a tyer, I would have loved to be part of Dre's classes myself. I know I met him a few years ago. I think not this past year at the Wisconsin Driftless because I wasn't there, but the year before. And he's super approachable, super friendly. And I would have loved to learn from Dre. Actually, I bought some flies from him. He does sell his flies online, and he has a great gift for tying flies for sure.
Well, next up, there has been a handful of Tenkara rods, new Tenkara rods that have been either released or teased. So people that are into, potentially adding a new rod to their collection, either right away or next year. There's been a few things to kind of take a peek at. And the first one is called the Compa, which is short for compadre. And that's a rod from the Rocky Mountain Tenkara folks. We did a podcast with them, interview with them, maybe a couple episodes ago. And it's a short rod. It's a pocket rod. It's one of those rods that collapses really down, short. And I think fully extended, it's about 7 feet long. So it's a rod for, bushwhacking, small streams, all those sorts of things. They say it's a very soft action rod. They claim it's a 5.5. We don't have Tom Davis tests on it yet. But that it's something that's out there. And if you're interested in a pocket rod, they're selling it for $125 as just the rod itself. Or I think you can get it, if I'm not mistaken, for $165 as like a combo with like a Zimmer built like sling pack or fanny pack or something like that. The darter pack. I'm not exactly sure which one that is, but basically have a whole like travel pack right there between the little pack and the pack rod. So that's a cool item that's out there right now. I know pack rods are really interesting to people, and it's cool to see them kind of get involved with that one. And then our friend Luong over at Tenkara Tanuki has just basically been going on a rod release and teasing spree over the last week or so. The first rod he put out is the Kunoichi 310. I think I'm saying that right. And it's a 10.5 foot rod that he's offering. It's designed for, small streams as well. It's $150. I don't know. Do you have to have any additional information on that? He's put a lot of pictures out on it.
I do not, but I'm waiting for a yellow rod from him. So, I do know that everyone has a touch of ADHD. So I know he's as we all know, Luong in the Tenkara world, he's all over the place, but I don't know much about the rod. Actually, I don't get much intel. But I do know that it's, what did he call it? The kebari action rod?
Something kebari. Like that. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I believe,
I wouldn't suspect that you'd be tossing like a heavy bead head, like a 4mm bead on it, but all of his rods are crisp to cast. So I'm sure it'll be fun to play with.
Yeah. So check that out. I think he had a batch of rods that he put up for pre-sale for delivery in January. And I think as of at least recording this podcast, there were a few left. And if you want, we do have a coupon code for his website through Tenkara Angler. You can save, I think it's like 5%. I was going to say that.
You can even save even more. Yeah. And you can use your code, the Tenkara Angler code, on top of whatever the early release price is.
Yeah, the same thing. Like when you said 150, Mike, I was surprised because they've usually been more expensive than that. And I mean, I've probably said it before, but I love all those Tanuki rods. I mean, the 325, or the 375. I think if I had to pick one rod, that might be it, So that for $150, if it's on par with the quality of his rods, that's great. Yeah. So
if you're interested in that, like I said, I think there's some units that are still available for January delivery. Just use the code. I think our code is Tenkara Angler, all one word. And I think you can save an extra 5% on that rod at checkout. Then he's also teasing a couple other rods. He's adding, it looks like another pocket rod as well, which is basically that Kunoichi rod, just in a smaller version. The picture that he put up on the website is pretty cool. It's basically just the handle. Like there's nothing else. Like the rod is that small. It kind of fits into that kind of, I don't know, swell handle or whatever that a lot of his rods have.
Is that where he was asking about yellow or black?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Vote yellow. Upvote yellow.
Upvote yellow.
Team yellow.
I'll put a picture of that. I'll put a picture of that on the podcast too, so people can see exactly what I'm talking about if you're listening or watching on YouTube. And then
we've also been working on developing a line of pockets to go with all of the pocket rods.
Orange pockets.
That will be specifically a Tenkara Angler release.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, if you don't have an official Tenkara Angler pocket, are you even a Tenkara Angler?
That's a good question. You probably are not. And then last but not least, what might be the most interesting rod that he's put out there, at least visually, and that's probably a statement because all of Luong's rods are definitely visually attractive. He's putting out a rod that he's calling the Wabi 360, Wabi as in wabi-sabi. It's basically, it's a graphite rod or a carbon fiber rod, but it's painted to look like a bamboo rod. So I'll make sure to put up a picture of that up on the screen as well. That one I know he definitely said is a kebari action, whatever that means. I don't know if that means it's slow or, full flex or whatever we'd call it. I'm not 100% sure. I know he doesn't like to stereotype his rods as, a particular action or curve, but that one's really striking. I don't think there was necessarily news on when that was coming out, but that one he posted as well. So lots going on in the world of Tanuki. As there always is, it seems like. And then last but not least, there's a couple events that have been announced for 2025 already. And we're going to try to get them listed on our Tenkara Angler events page once we're able to collect a little bit more information. One that a lot of us on this podcast actually went to last year, the White Mountains Tenkara Campout up in New Hampshire. That you can actually register for already. And that's through Red Brook Tenkara, Bill Holleran. And that's going to be June 20th. I remember it is Barnes Field Campground. He's got all the information on his website. I think you can register two ways, $60, if I remember right, for admission plus a campsite, or $40 for just admission. And admission actually gets you more than just admission. It gets you a whole bunch of swag and presentations and things like that too. Like I said, all the details are on his website, but I had a really great time last year. I know Matt, Amanda, you were both there. Amanda, you were actually participating in it. I'm curious, just real quick, any thoughts or, encouragement for people to check that out?
Yeah, I mean, it does, sell out every year. By sell out, I mean, you can only fit so many people in that. I think in that group campsite little circle, I think there's 10 or 11 campsites. It does get kind of cozy in there when you have 70 people, but I'm pretty sure there were over 70 people there, throughout the weekend. Most people camp. You don't have to camp. You can stay at a local Airbnb or hotels and stuff. But it's always fun. It's always great to have people from around the country that want to hang out in the Whites. I enjoyed it. I love that area.
Yeah, that was some really cool water up there. If you have not fished in that region, it's definitely a must-hit, in my opinion.
And the fishing's great, too. It's not just pretty. You catch a lot of fish when you go up there. Yeah. Hopefully that wasn't an anomaly last year, but definitely caught a lot of fish and had a good time. Probably not as many fish as mosquitoes I got, but it was still a really, 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 really good time. So bring your bug spray if you do decide to go. Just a insider tip. Another event that's I think on the calendar now. I don't know if it's totally official, but we'll try to get again some details and put it on the Tenkara Angler events page. Is the Wisconsin, the Driftless Tenkara Campout, which I believe is scheduled for the weekend of May 23rd. And that's going to be at the same place it normally is, the Esofia campground, I believe. And, the same crew of people we've written about it a lot on Tenkara Angler. So you can check out a lot of posts that we've written that kind of gives you the general vibe of that. It's very, very informal. It's basically just a gathering place for people to meet up. Go fishing during the day and then, kind of hang out around a campfire at night. It's really cool and it's well run and gets a lot of participation.
For that time of year, in that area, you can fish in the morning and go searching for morels in the midday. That's just about prime morel season here in Wisconsin. And there are some good areas around that place where the camp out is held.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely a good time. And again, just like we were talking about with New Hampshire, the fishing is phenomenal in the Driftless. Yeah. Probably a bad secret that we keep, but it is really good and catch a lot of fish if you go fish those spring creeks with Tenkara rods, over in Wisconsin. And then last but not least, Amanda, you were talking to us right before we got on the podcast about you were looking to set something up as well.
Yeah, my first camp out was actually down here in the Smokies that I went to a few years ago in April. And I will be hosting a camp out near Brevard, actually might be in Brevard, near Rosman. There's like a Headwaters. It's a fly shop right there. It's actually women-owned, women-run, and that's how I got acquainted to the area. I fish a lot in the Brevard area. Made a bunch of friends out that way, and I ended up renting a campground. So I cannot say the name because it's a weird name that begins with a K. But it's a pretty big site that can hold 78 people. And my plan will eventually, when I get something written out, will be to advertise on Tenkara Angler and come one, come all. Come hang out in Western North Carolina and let's camp and fish. Let's Tenkara. Yeah.
It's no secret. Brevard is like an awesome spot if you're into outdoors in general. There's like mountain biking and hiking, like just anything that you could potentially want to do outdoors, you can pretty much do with the Brevard being your base camp. Yeah. And, if you're so interested, it's not that far away from like Asheville or somewhere like that. Like if you want to go check out, maybe somewhere a little bit bigger, or, just swing by because you've never been. There's lots of cool things in Asheville culturally, as well, if you're into like gardens or theater or whatever. But, Brevard's awesome. Brevard's really cool
Special
spot.
place.
I love going there.
Yeah.
Cool.
And hopefully something in May too, mid-May.
Oh, mid-May too. So you got maybe a couple things going on. We'll see. All right. Well,
that brings me to another event thing. Wawa will be hosting a Tanuki boot camp in May. Mid-May, but I will hopefully be conjoining and hosting a camp out sort of thing there. So for his boot camp is more geared towards beginners that he hosts on the West Coast. He's been hosting that for years, but I convinced him to finally bring it to the East Coast. I think there's enough people who want to learn. So,
he's got definitely a broad following of Tanuki heads or whatever you want to call them.
I
right?
like that.
So
yeah.
So it's cool to get.
Tanuki heads.
Yeah, it's
around in bands
cool to get in.
Smoke a lot of interesting things.
So, like I said, Luong is all over the place these days, and I guess he's coming east as well. So very cool. Anything else anybody, has noticed or wanted to mention as far as current events in the Tenkara world? No? All right, cool. Then we'll get into, kind of what I teased in the beginning, holiday gifts and whatnot. Like I mentioned, we're recording this about 2 weeks before Christmas. And as an angler, as somebody, who's fished for, quite some time, everybody in my family knows I fish, but they never know what to get me. And as we say in the South, I'm an adopted Southerner now, bless their heart. You get gifts from time to time and you're just like, I totally appreciate you thinking of me. But like at the end of the day, I'm never going to wear the Rippin' Lips t-shirt or the Bassmaster, hat or whatever it is, just because that's not how I fish or whatever. But I'm sure everybody's had similar experiences over the years. So what we thought would be cool is whether you're looking to get a gift that you want to kind of suggest to somebody, or if you're trying to gift something to somebody, in your life from a fishing standpoint. I thought I'd kind of go around the horn and maybe, ask what, you guys would want as like a last minute Christmas present or holiday present that would apply, to your fishing. I don't know if any of you have anything that immediately comes to mind. I have a few, but I don't know, Anthony, I see maybe you're thinking about something. You got anything top of mind?
I could go. I got a couple things, a couple different price ranges, that I'm thinking about. So the one thing like that I'm always losing and I could like always use a good pair of is like, and it's not too expensive, but I think super useful is a good pair of nippers, like not cheap ones, but some nice ones.
Totally.
And like I'm constantly losing them, or I have like right now I have like 3 or 4 different size packs that I use, and I'm kind of moving one back and forth, but that's like a super usable thing. And your dentist, will thank you for not biting your tip it up
with your teeth.
So I think that's like, and that's like, those can be, some can get kind of expensive, but those are pretty reasonable. And the other thing, if you're looking for a gift for a more expensive gift for someone, this is something that I love and I can never have too many of, is like a nice long sleeve, like fishing shirt, like an Orvis fishing shirt or a Columbia fishing shirt that has a lot of the nice ones have like a little lens cleaner tab on the bottom too, that you can wipe your glasses off with. So I think those are terrific. And like I said, I can't have too many of those. And those can be a little more pricey, but that's like, I think, an awesome gift that your angling loved one would enjoy a lot. So
yeah, totally.
The other one I wanted to mention, this just came up. I don't know if you other guys saw this. So I ordered a couple, but I haven't gotten them yet. This guy, Matthew Schwartz, posted them on one of the Tenkara groups on Facebook. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. So it's, he's got two products, but the one I think is really cool. It's called the Fly Winder Mag Mount. Have any of you guys seen this? So it's like a fly winder, like a line winder that you can put on your Tenkara rod. Like we've all seen those, right? It's got a couple magnets on it that flies can kind of stick to. Cool thing with the mag mount one is, and we'll have to get a picture of it, is it's got a little thing that you can put on the wall, like you can mount on your wall. And then this line winder clicks and magnetizes to this. So now you've got like a wall mount.
Oh, that's cool.
And a fly holder and line holder. Super cool. I'm looking at it right now on Etsy, $16. He's got another fly winder product there too. Anyway, it looks super cool. I haven't gotten it yet, but that looks like a really cool sort of gift for someone.
Oh, that is really cool. So it's magnetic, and it's not only a line holder on your rod, but then there's another piece that can mount on your wall. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I haven't gotten them. Once I get them, I'll have to make a post about it.
That's cool. I assume he prints those or whatever.
I think they're 3D printed. Yeah,
that's cool. Seems like it's relatively affordable too, which is cool. Perfect kind of stocking stuffer, right? Amanda, do you have anything that you would want for Christmas or want for the holidays? That
I'm really bad at just buying my own stuff because I know why.
Me too.
Why try to explain something to someone. I'm becoming a gearhead. Like I've been liking to try different lines and stuff like that. So I have been experimenting, buying the different furled lines from Dragon Tail that they offer. Like that's been interesting to me, just to see maybe another line will suit my style of fishing better. So I've been experimenting with different lines, but now that it's winter, it's hard to, it's hard to go outside and want to cast in, like Bill said, 20-degree weather, but I've really been into women's gear just because I'm a woman, and it's harder to buy for women in terms of waders and stuff. So I went to Europe and used my Miss Mayfly waders, but I know they're coming out with a new updated version. They're women owned, and I recently got on there. I guess I'm one of their micro influencers or whatever, but they're having sales all December and stuff. And, I think I'm a big fan of gift cards. If people don't know what to buy me, just give me a gift card sort of thing.
Totally.
To companies that, support Tenkara or women products, because I know my waders pretty well.
That's a great comment. It's actually something I was going to mention at some point. So my mom, right? She still insists. I tell her Mom, you don't have to get me anything for Christmas, right? I'm kind of like you. I go, if I want something, I go out and buy it. I don't need anything. But she insists. She's like, Michael, I got to get you something, right?
Oh, it's Michael.
So exactly. One of the things I tell her every year, I was like, if you got to get me a gift card, right? Wawa is great. People that know Wawa, that's great. But another one that's great is if you wanted to get me $50 for hotels.com or Airbnb or something like that. A lot of us travel when we go fishing. We talked about all those events that are going on, and some are camping and some aren't. And, just being able to hey, not have to worry about, paying for a room for the night or something like that is an awesome gift that you could give an angler in your life.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that Airbnb one. That's really smart. That's really cool. That's really, that's a good one. That's a good one if anyone's listening.
Yeah, they're not going to pay for your entire weekend or anything like that. But, every little bit helps. And, some of those Airbnb fees are pretty expensive, right?
Yeah.
So,
and making a memory, you're using a $50 gift card. Thank you for the memory.
Totally,
experience.
Right. You send them pictures of the fish and the place later, that you caught, right? Thank you very much.
Cool. That's actually cool. Yeah.
So yeah, gift cards are awesome, as long as they're, focused in the right place or, whatever. You got any thoughts?
Occasionally, but you just kind of covered what I was going to say was, gas gift cards.
Oh yeah.
Because gas, we're always driving most of us don't live directly on top of the water we fish, and that's a significant resource outlay. But I have to agree, I think the vibe's kind of similar through here. But I have to agree with Amanda and Anthony and Mike so far. I'm sure Bill will be the same way, in that I'm very particular about the equipment that I use.
Right.
And, I buy what I buy for specific reasons, and I buy it from who I buy it from for specific reasons. And so I am one of those absolutely impossible people to shop for.
Saved us all some money. Thanks, Matt.
But, I think there's other ways you can gift, an angler. Commit to getting together with the angler that you want to give a gift to, and make sure that you go fishing. I think coffee in any way, shape, or form is probably a no-brainer for, most anglers. I think you'll know if your angler doesn't like coffee. Most of us need coffee in order to survive. I have to have coffee in order to get ready to have coffee in the morning.
Right.
But yeah, I think I would want anything that I guess is representative of my relationship to the gift giver in some way, shape, or form, more than anything useful. Because you guys, I'll just buy whatever, I go and I make sure that I have the equipment that I want.
Totally.
So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Those 2 cents make a lot of sense. What about you, Bill? You might come at this from a different angle. I know you're like a hunter forager in addition to being an angler.
Yeah, and I would maybe think about the gift for somebody who's not a Tenkara angler yet. I did this 2 Christmases ago. A young guy I got to know, he just got into fishing. In fact, he caught his first fish. He was so excited. I got him a Tenkara outfit, whole, rod and everything for Christmas, and he really appreciated it, and then offered to show him how to use it all. So yeah,
that's
maybe,
awesome.
Probably most needs some Tenkara gear is somebody who's never lifted a Tenkara stick yet. So
totally.
That's maybe where to put our attention on who to buy Tenkara gear for.
That's
for
great
people
call.
who already love fishing, rope them in. For me, this was Jeff Bezos, or one of his minions, just dropped this on my doorstep 1 hour ago.
Nice sweatshirt.
And this one is going to Switzerland.
Oh, nice.
As you know, I have a wonderful fishing guide and partner in Switzerland, Karina. Now I have to tell her not to watch the podcast before Christmas because I love it. It's beautiful. Another one, it's not about Tenkara, but it is about fly fishing. This guy, you all know John Galligan?
Yeah. I reviewed some of
his books are fantastic. So those of you who don't know, this is his first one, The Nail Knot. They are murder mysteries set in the driftless of Wisconsin, and the main guy is a fly fisherman, and he is a fantastic writer, Galligan. So I would, and he's done a series of this. He's now on to a new series about the mythical Bad Axe County. And if all of you don't know, this is Crawford County in disguise, and kind of the underbelly of Crawford County, where a lot of us do fishing while dodging meth labs and whatever else is going on in those hollers of the driftless area. But his books are fantastic. And something I just picked up, I haven't read for 30 years. I just started reading again a couple of weeks ago. Wouldn't you know, what's considered the great American novel is a fish story. And Herman can spin a yarn. Give the fisherman in your life a copy of Moby Dick if they haven't read it. This is a fantastic book. So that's what I got.
Nice. Very nice. I'm sure Tanuki can make a rod to, get after those
Moby
whales.
Dick
But
model is coming out soon. It's going to be white, as we know.
So back in my former life, casting around, I reviewed his books, the John Galligan books. Yeah,
he's a great writer.
Off to pimp my old blog, Mike, and get some links up to the...
Yeah, we'll put the links in the description of this.
Those are good books. He rumored, I communicated with him back then, and he rumored that he was going to do a Pennsylvania limestone region book, but it doesn't come to pass, I don't think.
We're going to arm wrestle for that. We want to keep him in Wisconsin. Dear, I just have about here.
Well, I had a couple that I had thought of. One I've obviously already mentioned, the gift cards. When I look at my Tenkara kit, what are things that are disposable? Like I've got all the rods I could ever need, and I've got axe and things like that. But one thing that's easy, and anybody that fishes with me knows I go through it, is tippet, right? Like tippet is, I'm not a fussy tippet person. I know there are people that like, they have to have a certain brand and a certain whatever. I'm not that guy. So again, when my mom bugs me, Michael, I want to give you something for real, something you can open, not just a gift card, right? I just send her the same link every year to buy me a guide spool of 5X or 6X tippet. And guide spool's the key because, it's like, I don't remember how much is on there, but it's way more than just buying a standard spool. Yeah. So that's always good. And then I always have tippet. I don't have to worry about it.
It's a great idea. Great idea. Trout Hunter 6.5. That's what
is that your choice?
Yeah. If anyone wants to send me Trout Hunter 6.5 fluorocarbon, because it's more expensive than gold.
Totally.
Rio nylon 5X for me.
Yeah.
Just send me all you want.
I think the link I send her is Rio, one of the flexes, Ultra Flex, Strong Flex, whatever. The one that looks like a pack of Marlboros. It's all red. That's the one that I sent her.
That's mine too, Mike.
Yeah.
We can trade stocking stuffers.
Right. So that's number one. And then number two, there's actually a lot of cool ways that you can gift memberships to people. And by that, I mean, like there's gift memberships to Trout Unlimited, or, organizations or things like that. I even think, I don't know if you can still do it. I believe you used to be able to do it in Pennsylvania when I lived there. You could like gift a fishing license, right? Oh. And like actually pay for somebody's fishing license.
That's a great idea.
Every year or something like that. So that's a gift that I'm sure they would appreciate. It's something they're probably paying for anyway. You just obviously want to make sure that they didn't buy it already or they don't have auto renew or something set up. But, those sorts of gifts are always, thoughtful, as well. And at the end of the day, they usually help the resource as well. If you're buying a fishing license, that goes towards, that state's fishery, conservation, or if you're supporting an organization like Trout Unlimited or NFC or somebody like that, like there's lots of, lots of ones where you can gift memberships to, and I always like the giving part of gifts.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's like a donation or something like that, especially if you don't know, specifically what they would want. So those are kind of my thoughts. Anybody else have any pop into their heads as we were talking?
The last thing I was thinking, if you want something like extravagant, like an extravagant gift, a day with a guide, where it doesn't even have to be a Tenkara guide. It can be a regular fishing guide because you're going to learn how to read water and all that stuff. And I mean, that can get expensive, but, I remember listening to like the Orvis podcast with Tom Rosenbauer years ago, and they had like the guy, like the president of Orvis on, and they were talking about like what what you can do to, what you should buy or whatever. And he was like, forget about getting a new rod, go out with a guide. That's what you spend money on, and like I said, it's not cheap, but like, that's like, I didn't do it for 20 some years and finally did, and was like, learned so much. So yeah, if you really want to like really spend a lot of money on someone, give them a day with a guide.
That's a great idea. When I moved to Florida, my wife actually got me a guided trip. It's funny. It was for the shad run. In Florida. People don't think of shad in Florida. They think of saltwater fish and all that stuff. But there's actually a shad run in Florida that runs from, I guess it's Lake Okeechobee or whatever, like the St. Johns River or whatever. I don't even know if I have the right starting place, but it runs up the St. Johns River. And, I went out with a guide that first year, and that wasn't Tenkara. It wasn't fixed line fly fishing. It was with a fly rod, but I had a blast, and it's quite honestly, it's like one of the most memorable gifts that I have. And he's a guy that actually became a friend too. So, you can make connections within, the region that you may not have before, especially if you're a new person or new to that area or, a new fly shop or whatever it is. That's a good idea. That's a great one.
So I have a question. So what's the Tenkara gift equivalent of coal in the stocking?
What?
What is the Tenkara gift equivalent of getting coal in your stocking? What does the naughty Tenkara angler get for a gift?
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
It was
if I was being a
family-friendly programming.
Yeah, if I was being a Tenkara snob, I'd be like, keep that max catch away from me. No, I don't know. It's one I have to think about a little bit.
I'd say a reel.
A real,
That's a good one.
a big bag of split shot.
I don't know. I feel like we've gotten to the point within the sport where we're kind of equal opportunity fixed line anglers. So I don't want to condemn anything at this point. But I hear what you're saying, Matt. That could actually I could see, maybe we'll open that up to comments. Anybody
There we go.
who doesn't necessarily have a filter, feel free to comment on what you think the equivalent of a Tenkara gift of coal would be. I'd be curious to see what people have to say there.
Like a Philadelphia Eagles jersey.
Come on, man. Come
Whoa,
on, man.
whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, still the Steeler guy over there.
Hey, Sunday we'll find out, I guess.
We will.
Right?
The state
Get to the
championship of Pennsylvania, right?
It's the real.
Eagles, Steelers,
I'm the
Wawa,
jury's-
Sheetz. It's all going down.
That's right. For me, the jury's out. But this will be the test, right? How they do. Even if they lose to the Eagles, but they do well, we'll know something, right? But yeah, in Sheetz, first of all, I just want to say, gift card for Sheetz.
Nobody wants that.
What the shit?
This is where Matt and Bill would chime in. Kwik-Trip, I'm sure.
Well, I would say
Oh, that's
Kwik-Trip is. I would take them over Sheetz or Wawa any day.
Kwik-Trip is great. It
Yeah.
actually is.
They're fantastic.
Those Rice Krispie bars at the counter are
I
amazing.
love the chicken waffle sandwich.
Yes, that is good.
It's
I
terrific.
hate to. Yeah,
Actually, the Wisconsin Driftless Camp, it's not going to be at Sophia. It's at the parking lot of the Kwik-Trip in Milwaukee.
it's all champ there.
If people haven't caught on to what we're talking about, we're talking about gas station food. Basically, it's a cuisine that us anglers, really, really enjoy. I'm sure you've got, something in your area. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's lots of places. One of the places I went that I always kind of giggled at for, juvenile reasons is I went fishing in I think it was Wyoming or something like that. And we had stopped and got our license at a place called Come and Go. And
Yeah.
it just,
Yeah.
the 6-year-old in me just kind of comes out when I see that, spelled out on a sign. But
Right.
Sounds like
He
Reno.
knew right away. He's like, yes, couldn't come and go.
oh, he knows the old Come and Go.
Been there once or twice.
I might have to put the adult label on this podcast episode. I think, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're right by Christmas time, the holiday. Oh, look at that! Bill kind of rotated his view to
Look
his
at our
Christmas tree. Looks nice. I haven't even put mine up yet.
We've got two up.
Oh, nice. Are they decorated in a certain way? Is one like a?
Yeah. So, we moved in with my mother-in-law. We kind of took over her house. So she has her tree, but we still wanted to put our tree up, So we've got our little tree, in our area. She's got her tree.
Nice dueling trees. I don't know. This is where the podcast goes off the rails.
If you want to go off the rails, so I just got a new addition to my family. It's a fish, a betta,
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
An
It's like,
experimental fish.
it looks like a koi. It's like they call it a tangerine koi betta. Anyway, so I need names. So in the comments, names for, he's kind of a little irritable right now. So I was thinking maybe Holden Caulfield as a name because he's kind of angsty. But I'm up for names. If anyone wants to comment in the name, I'll have to post a picture of him so you can see
Yeah,
it.
do that.
I'm up for names for an irritable betta fish.
You could name him
I guess
Nemo
kinda-
backward would be Omen. That's kind of spooky.
Oh, that is, yeah. I guess maybe to kind of wrap up podcast a little bit, we've kind of meandered and whatnot, but it is going to be the last podcast of 2024, and nobody has to give any huge, monologues or anything. But I'm just curious going around, is there any particular memories you had from this year that really stand out, whether it be a trip, an experience, things that would be Tenkara or fixed line related that, you thought were really cool and, wanted to reflect on a little bit?
I guess I could talk. I'm willing to get
Shoot.
to monologue a while. So this year I fished a lot. I don't know. I probably fished in May and almost 30 days, 35 days in a row. And so the question you might have is how many days can you fish before you get tired of it? And I don't know yet. That's not enough. I could fish that many and more, But so this year I fished I've talked about it before, but I fished the same area a lot, and there were a few surprising things this year, I think. And one was the seasonal variability of a stream. Like there were sections that I would go to, like say in May, and catch 50 fish in an hour, and I'd go back in September and not see a fish. So that was very curious. So I guess the message there is like, if you're out exploring and you fish somewhere that looks fishy and you're not catching anything, don't let one trip at one time of the year kind of like, flavor what you think of an area. Like, because I was shocked to see this, like in certain areas, the way things fish seasonally. And then the other thing is daily, from day to day. I would fish the same stretch of stream like every day for a week. And one day it would be just unbelievable fishing. The next day, the fishing would be terrible. And everything would look the same. Like I couldn't really identify what the difference was,
Was the difference because you caught all the fish the previous day?
Baby, you scared them all away.
Maybe.
We're gonna get you Solinar tables for Christmas. You'll be set.
Yeah, but so it was very interesting. So I guess the moral to the story is like the more I learn, the less I know. Kind of, like if you think you go somewhere and you think, oh, I got this dialed in,
Right?
Yeah, next week you probably don't have it dialed in. So it was very interesting to see the variability seasonally and daily. So that was like very fascinating to me. And so don't get too like if you have a great day, don't let your head get too big, because it might have just been a day when it was pretty easy to fish.
Very cool.
And the other thing that I found was like I kind of got back a little bit to more active Tenkara style fishing after talking with Jonathan Antunes and some of the things that the podcast that I did with him. And on the limestone spring creeks that I fish, I would have said that you couldn't get away with fishing as actively as I was, and was
Right.
having a lot of luck. So that was the other thing, is like if you think like I was really obsessed with nymphing for a while, and I could still go and catch a lot of fish that way. But fishing in very active ways on the surface with flies, we caught a ton of fish and a lot of different, situations. So it was fun. So if you're someone who thinks you got to get really technical all the time and you're afraid to get more like quote unquote Tenkara and fish more actively, give it a try. Like I was shocked that it worked even during some like really kind of intense hatch times.
Yep.
With flies that didn't match the hatch. So anyway, it was fun to have the leisure to explore that kind of stuff. And anyway, so that's kind of my year in summary.
That's cool. Just to kind of play off that, I'll kind of share one of mine real quick. So one of the things that I started to do a little bit more at the end of the year was actually, and this might sound blasphemous, but I put the Tenkara rod down and started fishing more with a small stream rod and reel, fly rod and reel. And it had been the first time I had really done that for any extensive amount of time. And the thing that I noticed, my small stream setup is like a 7-6 3-weight, something like that. But when you fish the small water, it really makes you appreciate the length of a Tenkara rod.
Absolutely.
And all of the water that you can actually hit. Now you are trading off. You can't shoot line or anything like that. But actually controlling your line and manipulating your flies and being able to be precise with where you want the fly to go. Like it was almost like an aha again, just because I hadn't done it in so long. Fishing those same waters that I would normally fish with a 10 or 11 foot Tenkara, which isn't even on the long side, by the way, because, there's obviously 13, foot or 14 foot Tenkara. But, just going from a 7.5 foot fly rod to a 10 or 11 foot Tenkara rod, like for the ways that I wanted to fish that small water, like I said, it was night and day. And it really made me just appreciate Tenkara as a tool for fishing that sort of water. Every rod, fishing, there's lots of different rods. There's lots of different ways you can use them as tools. But Tenkara really does shine. And I don't think we give it enough credit within our own community on how good it is for the water that I guess it was born on or intended for, or whatever you want to call it. We tend to talk a lot about let's take the Tenkara rod to the saltwater or, to the big river or whatever. But it really does shine in that, in that, high gradient, small, mountain water. that was my kind of takeaway.
Absolutely, yeah.
I left the country for the first time this past year and got to fish in other countries. So that was pretty incredible. One, being able to afford it myself. And two, just being able to explore waters I never, ever dreamed. I never even knew existed out of my ignorance in my small world, and from Pennsylvania, the Poconos, growing up there. So that was really enlightening to have other countries welcome me and, as a woman teach. I know Luong gave me that opportunity with Tanuki, but I truly just being able to reach out to other women anglers and teach them about Tenkara. I mean, it was pretty incredible to be able to do that. And that was hands down, probably, it is my favorite experience from this year, was being able to travel outside the country and fish Tenkara and teach it too. So
That's super cool.
yeah.
My Tenkara highlight was being added to the motley crew of contributing others at Tenkara Angler. I'm so grateful. All of you out in listening land, this is a great group of people, as you know. That's why you're here listening. So that's my Tenkara highlight. And when I think back on other things, I had some really good fishing, but what I'm remembering as I'm thinking about is some really cool people I got to fish with. And I'm a guy, I like to fish alone a lot. Like sometimes sharing a stream is like two people trying to share an umbrella. You both get wet, kind of thing. Or you both don't catch fish or, whatever. But that said, I got to fish with Rob Worthy. He took me on his home water in Kentucky. And then this crazy tattooed AC/DC cranking fishing guide I had in Sicily, Pepe, who was just a riot fishing with him. And then this really interesting, reflective Bernhard Niedermeyer, this Tenkara pioneer in Austria, and just getting to meet these people. I mean, Rob I already knew. I'd fished with Rob. And then I had a really nice camp out with Matt and a couple people where the fishing sucked. We just sat around talking about all
Thanks, Matt.
stuff.
It was terrible.
The history of the Vietnam War and everything. And when I think back of my Tenkara year of 2024, what's popping in my head is more amazing fish than just the amazing people I had a chance to spend with, using Tenkara as the entry point. So I'm very grateful for that.
That's awesome.
And it's going to start right away in January. The first week of January, I'm going to New York to visit my daughter, and I've already booked a coffee with Chris Stewart. And
Nice.
my January is going to start out having coffee with Tenkara Bum in New York.
That's awesome.
That's
Give them our
awesome.
best.
Yeah, I will do.
Thank
well,
you, Matt.
as
You got
far
anything?
as my takeaways from the year, not to take too much from Bill, but I would say that, what he mentioned about fishing with a lot of memorable people this year really was my experience as well. It would take me a minute to list off everyone that I fished with this year, and just had a great time. If we fished together this year, thank you. The other thing that was cool about this year is I had some of the worst fishing of what I would consider my non-newbie fishing career to deal with. In particular, on one trip where I drove all the way out to Colorado and drove 2 days to Colorado, fished for 2.5 days, got stuck the entire time, and then drove back 2 days. And it takes, a trip like that could easily crush an angler's joy for what they're doing. But what I liked about the experience in the long run was it really forced me into some serious analysis of what I was doing on the terrain I was on. I guess in the long run, the lesson that ended up burning through for me was that I was trying to make the water that was really difficult driftless water. That's where my playbook is the strongest. I think there are things I can be doing off the bat to be more adaptive when I'm hitting challenging water in places that I'm not used to fishing. So the learning process behind the solid ass kicking that I got was definitely worth the price of admission.
Hey, and don't forget, Matt, like I was saying though, conditions, like on streams that I fish over and over, that happened to me at certain times, where who could explain it, some weird weather and whatever,
Yeah,
So-
and to my and the other anglers' defense, that weekend there was a significant change in the angling environment prior to us starting. But thank you. I will rest on that the next time. I have no hope left in the darkness.
Makes your humbling feel a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. The one thing I did want to add to, just because we're kind of going through the cycle now, and it kind of plays off of what, Bill and Matt and even Amanda to a certain extent said, is it's always really fun putting together the print magazine for Tenkara Angler because it's so different from what we do day to day in like a digital space. Sure, I'm doing it on a computer, but at the end of the day, there's actually like a paper copy that people can hold at the end of the day. And it's really fun just interacting with the people as they're, submitting their stories and looking for feedback and, all that kind of stuff. So, we just wrapped up that deadline passed the end of November. And we've got, probably about, 10 to a dozen, articles for the next magazine, which is going to come out in the new year. So that's always a super fun experience. Hopefully people will be looking forward to seeing that. I know I had a great time, kind of reading the articles, editing the articles, and, putting those all together. So I really appreciate everybody that, submitted something for this, upcoming 2025 issue. It's a really fun experiment, I guess, that we have going on here as like an amateur magazine or whatever you want to call it. But, it's really cool to see all those articles on paper at the end of the day. Lends like it, even if it's faux legitimacy, it adds some legitimacy, in some form to the writing, right?
But thanks to you for, all the work of pushing this together and pulling it together for yet another year of the print edition.
It's fun. It's fun. I just do it because I like to create stuff, and it's fun to hang out with like you guys and stuff like that. So, all my friends, I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast. I'd probably say most of my adult friends I've met through fishing or Tenkara or something like that, which is pretty cool. So I appreciate all of that. And speaking of, I'm going to kind of wrap this up real quick, and kind of the end of the podcast. We mentioned this on the last podcast, kind of teased it. So with the release of this podcast episode, we're also going to have a holiday Tenkara contest that we're going to put on. And a little bit of the details on that is that, we're going to put out, you'll be able to download from our website, basically a coloring book page of Matt's adventure van. And what we encourage everybody to do is decorate Matt's van. And you can color it however you want. You can get your glue and sparkles out. You can get your glitter out. You can get your crayons out. You can get your markers out, your watercolors. If you want to do it on an iPad digitally, whatever. But we want...
Chew it on someone?
Yeah, right. We want to see what you would envision Matt's blank canvas of an adventure van, what that art should be on the side. And maybe if it's that good, maybe Matt will actually put it on the side. I can't make any promises.
I can't either.
But definitely, we would love to see some creative ideas, hopefully safe for publishing, because we'd like to post them all on the website at some point.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we'll give away a prize pack to the winner. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to pick the winner because obviously art is subjective, but we'll figure that out between now and the end of the contest. But what we'd like to give away is the 2025 print copy. Were you going to say something, Bill?
They win Matt's van, don't they?
I don't know if they win Matt's van.
No.
If they want to win the payment,
what they win is they'll win a 2025 print copy of Tenkara Angler magazine. Their choice of Tenkara Angler apparel, like the ones that Bill's wearing and held up, they can pick out their own shirt or hoodie or whatever they want from our Tenkara Angler merch shop. And then we're also going to give away a rod. We've got a bunch of rods in our sample rods, all the ones that, we measure and do the rod reports on. So it's going to be a pretty cool prize pack, and that'll go to the winner. So, the more participation, the more fun there's going to be. We'll put out the downloadable picture when we release this podcast. It'll be on the website as well. Probably give people a month to, like I said, get out their art supplies and decorate Matt's van. And then we'll pick a winner around the new year. So we're really looking forward to it. Be creative. be funny, be kooky, however you want to do it. Like we want to see the best there is. And like I said, the more people that do it, the better. I should probably also say, we'll put it in the instructions as well. But what we'd ask you to do is to download the picture and then just email it back when you're done to our general inbox, which is staff, STAFF, at tenkaraangler.com. And then, like I said, we'll end up posting them all at the end of the day. So keep it somewhat clean. But you can be a little dirty if you want. That's fine. All right. Well, cool. That's all I had. Anything else that anybody else wanted to add in the last podcast of the calendar year?
Thanks for listening, folks. It's amazing to be able to do this and have people listen and get some feedback so thanks for listening, folks.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. So with that, I guess I'll just wish everybody a happy holidays and a happy new year, and we'll see you or talk to you again in 2025. Thanks, everybody.
Happy holidays, everybody, and get out there and fish in 2025.